What is a loop in programming? Well, a loop is a way of moving through beginning to end an iterable object, something that has a defined start and end point, and a way to get from the beginning to the end. How about a string? Well, a string is just a set of characters grouped together. These characters can be letters, numbers, symbols, punctuation, spaces. A string is defined as anything wrapped in single or double quotes, or the tilde, the backticks to the left of your one. Programmatically, we can treat strings like arrays in some limited cases, moving from beginning to end or picking out individual characters. Let's look at string interpolation, template literals, and for loops. All right, so let's go ahead and define three strings. We're going to have three variables: dog's name. We're going to say dog's home and dog's activity, their favorite activity. So the dog's name is going to be Rex. Dog's home, let's say Wisconsin. And their favorite activity, his favorite activity is, let's say, playing fetch, like that. And so right there, we've defined three different strings. We have the double quotes here, we have the single quotes here, and we have the tilde, or the backticks to the left of your one there. Let's go ahead and combine these strings. We're going to use string interpolation first. So it's like the old school way. So let's sentence one equal, and we'll just say, let's do my dog's name is, and then we just use pluses. So we close off this first string, we do a plus, then we put the variable name like that, and then we can continue this string. My dog's name is whatever, then we'll do a period and say he is or lives in, and again, close off that string, plus, we'll go dog's home, another plus, do a period, his favorite activity is, another plus, and that was the dog's activity. And then we'll just do a final period like that. So let's print it out in the console on the right. So we have sentence one. So like that, we have the sentence. We use string interpolation to combine multiple strings, not just so my dog's name is Rex, he lives in Wisconsin, his favorite activity is fetch. So we didn't just combine the variables. We combined new strings with the variables. These guys are treated as strings as well. We just didn't put them in variables. We could have easily cut that out and said something like, let first part of sentence equal that, and just added that right here. So you can, doesn't matter if you go variable, like string, variable, string, you can do variable, 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 variable. So first part of sentence, and we get the exact same sentence on the right here. So that's a bit verbose. It's a bit long-winded. So let's do template literals. So let's do sentence two. We'll do the same sentence, but we're going to use template literals. So sentence two is equal to. So we're just going to use the backticks for this. The semicolon here. And the sentence was my dog's name is. Instead of closing off these backticks and then adding a plus, we can just use the $ with the curly braces, which indicates that this is a string, but then we want to interrupt the string and place some sort of JavaScript in here. And that JavaScript is going to be the variable name. So dog's name, just like that. My dog's name is Rex. We can do a period. He lives in, and again, $ curly braces. This was dog's home. And then close the curly brace. His favorite activity is $ curly braces, and that's dog's activity, like that. So when we compare the sentences on the right, we get sentence one, and we get sentence two like that, and they're the exact same sentence. My dog's name is Rex. He lives in Wisconsin. His favorite activity is playing fetch. And so that was just creating three strings, one with the double quote, one with the single quote, one with the tildes, and then we combine those strings to create another string. These are considered strings, the sentence one and sentence two. So type of, we can do type of sentence one, it's a string. Type of sentence two is also a string. And so we created three variables. Well, there's a fourth right here. And we combine those strings, first using the string interpolation and then template literals. Now, the cool thing about JavaScript strings is you can use some methods on them. And so one of the methods we can call is toUppercase. And so I'm going to capitalize this Rex here. See how it's uppercase R, lowercase ex? We can say before we use it, we'll just say, we can say something like dog's name dot to uppercase, not to lowercase, to uppercase like that. And we've called this method on this string here. So now when we go to the right and we print out sentence 1, we'll get the my dog's name is Rex with the uppercase R, lowercase ex, and we get the sentence 2, which is the exact same thing. Now, why is it the exact same thing? We've called this method and it returns the transformed string, but we haven't captured the return. We have to save the return somewhere. So we can do something like let dog's new name equal that, and the dog's new name would be the rex, all capitalized, or we can just throw it back into the dog's name, which is what we'll do. So we're just going to say something like dog's name is equal to dog's name dot to uppercase. And now when we check the right side, sentence 1 is capital R, lowercase ex, and sentence 2 is all capital case like this, rex. We can also call things like a split. Let's do a split. Let's split the entire sentence. So let's do let split sentence 2 equal, we can say something like sentence 2 dot split, and for the parameter it takes a character that it's going to use to split the sentence. So let's say that all of these characters in the sentence were separated by commas. We'd say separate the sentence by commas and put each individual piece in an array. So we do something like that. But let's separate it by, since we don't have a lot of commas in this sentence, we don't have any commas, we have all these spaces. So let's separate by spaces. So something like that. And now when we run this and we check the split sentence, actually we'll go to sentence 2 first. That's the sentence 2. And then we check the split sentence 2. We get an array filled with each and every single word in the sentence because we split the sentence by spaces. Each space counts as a new index item or array item here. So let's move on to loops then. So let's create, to show you guys this, I'm going to create 3 different arrays and then we're going to loop through the arrays. So we can comment this out. And we're just going to create sentences, but instead of creating them manually like this, we're going to loop through some arrays and create them. So let's do the first. All right, so we have 3 different arrays. We have an array for the sentences, like this, sentences. There are 3 different types of for loops. We're going to look at the traditional for loop. We're going to look at the enhanced for loop. This is bugging me, space there. Enhanced for loop. And then we're going to look at it's a for loop method called for each. So these guys are not methods, this guy's a method. Something like that you call. So we're going to loop through. We have 3 objects in each, so it's convenient. So we're just going to take basic syntax. For, you have 3 different blocks in this. The first block, you instantiate a variable. That's going to be the counter. We're going to do I is equal to 0, so we're going to start at 0. If you don't understand arrays, I'll link it up in the top right or in the description. So indices in arrays start at 0. They don't start at 1. So we're going to start our index or counter at 0. We need our counter to stop, some sort of condition where the loop stops. And so as long as I is less than, we'll just say dog names. We can choose any of these guys because they're all the same length. So we're just going to say dog names dot length. As long as it's less than the length of the dog name, we're going to keep looping. As soon as it runs out of items to loop through, it'll cut the loop off. And then in the last clause, we need to iterate the counter. We need to increase it by 1 every single loop. So just like that, we have our traditional for loop. So I'm going to take this template literal. I'm not going to take the string interpolation. It's way too long. I'm going to take all this guy right here. I'm going to paste it down here. And I'll do this in 2 lines so it's a bit cleaner. Say new sentence like this. Let me scroll up here. New sentence is equal to that string right there. And instead of these variables here, what we want for the dog name is we want the dog's name array, so not a dog's name, but dog names. And then we want the I. This counts from 0 to 2, which is 0, 1, 2, 3 items. So in the first loop, it's going to take the first item of dogs, which is Rex. And then we want the first item of the homes, so it's dog homes, not dog's home, like that. We still want the I. And the exact same thing with the dog activities. Dog activities like that, and the I. So we're creating this sentence, and then we have to put the sentence in the actual sentences array. We're just going to push it in there. So sentences dot push, and put in the new sentence like that. Let's check what we got on the right side here. So it's the sentences array, and we have the three items, 3 elements in the array here, and they're all the sentences constructed. My name is Rex. My name is Lala. My name is Suds. We got Wisconsin, NYC, Texas, and we got playing fetch, napping, and hiking in the woods. Now we just printed that variable using the REPL. Let's print it out in the console using the actual code in the script.js. So we're going to loop through the array and print it out in the console so we don't have to type it in on the right side here. So for that, we're going to use the enhanced for loop. There's 2 different versions of this enhanced for loop. So be careful which one you use. It's not that big a deal, but so we have for sentence, we have in, and then we have of. In you can think of as index, and of you can think of as the element in the index, the actual value. I'll show you, we'll do it twice then. So we'll do an in and an of. So sentence of, so that sentence right here, this takes the place of either the index or the value. You can think of it as the counter here, the let I, except you don't have to say let sentence equal whatever. So it's implied that the sentence loops through whatever we're looping through, which is the third part of this construction here. So sentences right here. And so we use of to indicate we want the value of the element in the proper index. So we can just do console.log, and we'll just do sentence like that. Now we can use this exact same, you can see on the right here, we can use this exact same construction, this enhanced for loop, but instead of we're going to do in, and you're going to see the difference here. So it was in and of. So in gives you the index, so index 0, 1, 2. It's like the I, right? The I with a number. The of says use that index, but use it in the array and give me the value of the array. So that's the enhanced for loop. It's just a more condensed way of writing this for loop here. And so the for each method, it marries these two here, this in and of behavior. You comment these guys out. And so we write the array we want to loop through, so sentences, and we call the for each method. For each, and so this gives us access to the value and the index, and it's in an anonymous function, which is an arrow function. I'll link in the description about arrow functions. And we can just do console.log, and we can say value. Let's spice it up a bit though. Let's do sentence, and then we'll do sentence index, and we'll do this, and value like that. So when we save, we should get, there we go. So that's the 3 main ways of using for loops. We have the traditional, which is what you're going to find in every single programming language, where we have to manually initiate a counter and then use that counter in the code here. And then we have the enhanced for loop, which allows us to kind of break down or simplify all of this this nonsense here. And we can use the index or the value. And then we have the for each method, which gets called on arrays. You can't, like I mentioned in the intro to this video, at strings you can do something like, let's say sentences. Well, let's just do this. You comment this out so we don't get anything on the right. Let's just say let me equal NYC, like that. We can do something like this, console.log, and we can go me, and we can pick out, let's say the Y, so that's an index 1. So when we save that, we get a Y on the right. So you might think that you can treat strings like arrays, and you can, but it's a limited use. What you can't do with a string that you could do with this for each is strings don't have a for each method applied to it. They're not treated like arrays in JavaScript. So index, value, and then you'd have this, and it's going to break, but let's just show you. Console.log the value. Control save, and again, there's no for each method for the strings, it's only for the arrays. So if you want to loop through this me right here, you'd have to either use, I wonder if you could use an enhanced for loop. I've never tried the, let's see, so for letter of me, and then we're just going to console.log that letter. Console.log letter like that. Does that work? So you can use the enhanced for loop, or you can use the longhand version, which is let I equals 0, I is less than me.length, and then I iterate the counter, and then console.log, and then you'd have to go me and then use the array syntax with the I, and then you get the NYC, the exact same thing. Let's delete this. You get NYC like that. So again, and so that's going to be it for the video, guys. Just a very basic video on loops and strings. Very powerful, though, a way to easily manipulate character data. And so if this video gave you any sort of help at all, don't forget to give a like, share it, comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.